It's that time again. Genius Part 2, the Netflix exclusive documentary. Now, everybody here has checked it out and watched it, and I guess we're just ready to jump right into it. So maybe I'll start with Dre the Music Man. Of course, we got Dre and Muck, DBTH Radio, myself and Joe of SoundMojo and Innersleeve. So what's up, guys? What's the first consensus here on Genius Part 2?
I loved it. I honestly, I thought this was so well done, so entertaining, and possibly the best beginning of a documentary I've ever seen. That whole scene there where they come in and it's just some soulful music, some slow jams. The families around the table, they're all talking, doing their thing, and then Kanye comes in the room, just mid freestyle. In a polka dot shirt, man. I wish I could have known that kid. What a cool kid.
Piss and vinegar.
Amazing. It was great. I was laughing. It was great. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it.
It's so cool to see because, I mean, he's not an artist that we've really seen much footage of him when he was super young, right? So this is different for him.
That's very true. Yeah, it was the first I see him as a kid. Yeah.
It's my favorite part of the whole thing, is going back. Last episode, we saw him 18, 19, 20, hustling, kick-ass producer already, with some of the biggest names in the game, Chi-Town, all that stuff. And then this week was more it was appropriately titled Purpose. Literally the episode's called Purpose, So the fact that we saw him at 9, 10 years old in that clip with the polka dot shirt, he was really young. So purpose, I guess there was a purpose, man, for him to be here, and
no doubt. Muck, what did you think about sort of the beginning and maybe the title and meaning of this episode?
I really liked it. I think so far they did a really good job of showing us that side of Kanye, that drive, right? And every time he did something, he was always thinking about how he could make it better or use that as a way to springboard his career. I mean, I'm surprised that they found footage from that long ago as well for him as a kid. It was cool to see him kind of jump in and be a little bit of a brat too and kind of steal the show.
Yeah, Cootie wasn't around back then, so there was probably not much footage from when he was, before New York. How do you guys feel like the perception of him from other people in the film started to change in episode 2? Because, I mean, he obviously gets the Rockefeller deal. That's a big thing for him, but still he doesn't seem to be satisfied with where he's at.
It's kind of like he's saying it's even as already a big time producer on some, big songs, and you're still not happy because his whole purpose was to be a rapper, to be the whole, package.
Yeah, there was an interesting quote in here because I feel like this part of the documentary really does serve like a motivational speaker type scenario. There's this one quote that I found truly inspiring. He goes, "Belief is the power that fuels your purpose." So, I mean, we're talking a lot about purpose, but it's the fact that he believed in himself. That's really what manifested in his career. You know what I mean? And I think that's the untouchable part of Kanye. The guy is very, very sure of what he's doing and what his abilities are. Yeah, even from a young age, you can see that confidence when he comes on the screen there. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
No doubt. Do you think that, I mean, for me personally, it seemed like watching the guys around him, especially after he got signed, I mean, I saw a lot less smiles than I did sort of upset, concerned faces. And it seemed like people were like, almost like we've been trying to stop this guy from trying to go for it, and now he's got it. I mean, I don't know if that was just me, but it seemed like more people were resenting him maybe at the time than were supporting him.
I didn't pick up on that so much, but I did feel that the struggle intensified in this part 2. Definitely.
Yeah, because the guy is at Rockefeller. He got the deal, right? Still not happy because he wants the top. But even at that point, with that cred of having produced these hits, and still they wouldn't give him a release date. They kept pushing back the release, right? And the budget was minimal, and just to get attention of the label. But you're an artist, you're signed to that label, you know what I mean? But they have many artists. But yeah, that was interesting to see. I didn't pick up on maybe that's what it is. Maybe people were like, okay, calm down now. Now you're here, no, but there's no rest for the wicked, man. This guy just wants to go to the top.
Yeah, it's so true. Muck, what do you think?
often they would just continuously refer to him as producer rapper when he first, got signed, and he would get mad at them. He's like, don't refer to me as a producer rapper, put me in the same league as everybody else and I'll show you what I can do. And, he ends up doing it essentially throughout that episode. And that's what's awesome. I mean, I think I love that journey that he took. And in a short period of time, again, it was maybe 6 months?
Yeah. I think it was funny. About 6 months.
I was going to say, a lot of people believe in themselves, but like, that's on another level, man, the drive that he had. And like, and no, like, I don't take no for an answer. That's like what it is,
I think you have to know how to move too.
Yeah.
That's true. I was just going to bring up, I think it was right before the accident. He wanted to prove himself and get on a Jay-Z record. He wanted to get a feature on a Jay-Z record. Yeah. And when he goes into that studio and he raps for Jay-Z and they're just sitting around looking at him, man, oh my God, I felt the weight of that. Can you imagine what it would be like to have to give your best self to like the best rapper on the planet, basically at the time? I honestly, I felt it. I felt it in my chest, that nervous energy that he must have had going in there. Woo, good. Props to him. Man. That's intense. Yeah.
It worked, right? Like he got what he wanted, and that feature did get him even further, So it's like, man, it's like methodical, right? God's plan, right? He kept saying it's God's plan.
That's it. It's insane to think too. I mean, just how far that it went, because when you think about part one, when he saw Jay-Z at the after party, he sort of shook his hand and stuff and just walked away. And it was like, I think it was well understood that it wasn't cool for them to hang out or talk because Kanye wasn't cool. And I mean, you fast forward 20 years, they got Watch the Throne, and they're considered, close to the modern day. I mean, Biggie and Tupac. I mean, listen, like there's some of the biggest rappers in history. I mean, does it strike you guys how far it went? Because it's one thing to do a song or a beat, but this became almost a brotherhood with him and Jay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll jump in on that one. Probably my last, the last great album, I feel, in my opinion, that he put out was Watch the Throne with Jay-Z. And I think at that point, they realized what Kanye was bringing to the table. They realized that this was not an average rapper. This was a game changer situation, And he really did. If you look at his catalog, you look at the discography, there's some real new ground being breached here. And I think Jay-Z would have been an idiot not to exploit that to its fullest. And how do you do that? Well, a collaborative album, I guess, would be the peak way to really get on board with what Kanye was doing. Yeah, because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, maybe my history is a little off. I mean, obviously Jay-Z is massive. He will remain massive till the end of time. But at that point, he had kind of peaked, I think. And
well, yeah, it wasn't as hype as, I mean, his biggest albums had sort of come and gone at the time.
That's it. So I think this was his way to keep riding that slope upward, to kind of piggyback off of Kanye. And I mean, I'm jumping ahead a bit in the documentary, but talking about piggybacking, I found it so funny that like Kanye finally made it, and there you go, Puff Daddy's coming around. he's coming
exactly, right? The guy
he smelt the success. He's coming for his piece. You know what I mean?
It's like a shark in the water, right? They smell the blood, they know where to go.
That's right,
exactly. Like dads when someone's touching the thermostat, it's like they just appear out of nowhere. It's like a sixth sense,
Guilty as charged, that's for sure.
That's great. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Well, look, it's funny. I was just looking at like just Spotify. This is by no means like inclusive, but like I mean, just on Spotify, Jay-Z's at 26 million monthly listeners, and Kanye is at 47 million listeners. Wow. But then again, Kanye also has Donda, the new album. I don't know, like if Jay-Z's been putting out stuff regularly, and stuff. But like, no, just saying, like he's surpassed him and almost doubled. Close to doubling him.
Well, I think he's definitely much bigger with kids too. I mean, younger people. He's doing songs with like Travis Scott, stuff with Drake. So I think it's definitely he's in with the younger generation. And the thing with Jay-Z that I think this whole series has really emphasized for me is just how long Jay-Z has really been. Even if he wasn't at the biggest point in his career, like we're saying, he's been on top for a long time. Some of the biggest names in music that we know now, while they were still scraping and clawing for a chance, this guy was living luxury. I mean, it's pretty insane. I don't know, Muck and Joe, what you guys think, but like the level and how long Jay-Z has maintained his position in hip hop.
Definitely. I mean, I was listening to him when I was young as well, and it's been at least 20 or so years. So he's been around, and he's been with some of the best up there, and is probably one of the best for the type of hip hop he does. And I mean, to work with him just must be I don't know, it must be on a whole other level.
Man, I can't imagine.
It's interesting like that, like, Puff, Jay-Z, Kanye, like, I mean, they all branch out. Like like you said, like maybe at a certain point they peak in terms of music, but now everybody's got like a wine, or everybody's got like shoes, or, cologne or perfume, So it's like they branch out into these, what do they call them? I don't know, serial entrepreneurs kind of thing, So
or
like,
side
it's like
hustles.
So like, okay, if this is, if this is sort of like, because if you think about it, right, like Seinfeld, right, he leaves at the top, that he leaves the game. So I mean, like, if you're gonna ride this wave and you're still gonna be like relevant for a little while, but what's the point of trying to force it, right? You do other things, So it's interesting to see that a lot of these guys all went into these sort of side biz. Rihanna, right? They all did it.
No doubt.
Totally. I wanted to mention before we got into the accident and all that stuff. Did you guys catch the Donda 2 release?
Yes, I waited
stuff, man.
10 hours for the heartbeat to end, and then I caught it.
Pretty wild, man. Honestly, the style and just the artistically how it looked. If you just take screenshots and you see what he put together, it's just so unique for an album release, for a concert. I don't know what you would call that. I caught there was over 200,000 people live on YouTube, and then I went on Instagram and on IG. He was doing like a behind the scenes thing, and there was another 200,000 people on there too. Wow. That's mental turnout, man. That's
insane.
Mental.
Plus the people in the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's that.
It looked like a full house almost.
Yeah. I mean, other than what they had, closed for the set. I mean, so he always seems to deliver, and it's the technical issues though were a real shame.
I saw there was a mic problem. That's what I caught. He threw his mic
couple
at
mic
one
problems.
point. Yeah.
The guys couldn't hear themselves, but again, it's a stadium. Now, let me ask you this real quick, because Dre, you did a video for SoundMojo where you talked about separating the art from the artist. What are your thoughts on his repeated insistence on bringing out Marilyn Manson at these events? Because I was thinking about it. The only time we've seen Marilyn Manson in 2 years, and, Joe and Muck, we can, comment on this too, has been with Kanye. I mean, what do you guys think?
I don't quite understand the collaboration. I mean, I hear Marilyn Manson on the new album, Donda. I hear it on Jail. There's this sort of, I don't know what you would call an industrial feel to it, or it sounds like Manson to me, like early Manson, but I don't know why you would need that particular individual specifically to accomplish that sound on your album. I feel like, I don't know, there's nothing too much to it, but this is my amateur opinion from the outside. I'm not a producer, so I don't know what it would take to accomplish it. To answer your question about Marilyn Manson being on stage with Kanye, look, I don't have much background on what's going on with Marilyn Manson and what's happening in the courts and what exactly he's been accused of. From what I gather, it seems pretty disgusting, but at the same time, if Kanye is bringing him into a circle, I guess it's for Kanye West's fans to decide if they want to listen or not. I mean, to me, it's for the person that's meant to be entertained to decide if he's going to accept it or not. And for me personally, my personal views on this, I try not to add a story to the music. For me, music is to feel. It's to feel in the present moment. It's not for me to run a background check on every single sound that comes to my ears. So, I mean, for me, I'll listen to it. I'm not saying Marilyn Manson for president. I'm not saying I'd work with the guy either, but if the song hits, it hits. That's my opinion.
Yeah. We don't know his reason for working with him really, truly either, right? There's got to be something. There's got to be something that they both know that we don't, that keeps that friendship there, or that need for them to work with each other there.
So true. Maybe they've been friends for years and we just didn't know, I mean, that's a very valid point as well.
That's total possibility, like they've been touring or across, you end up in parties of circles of friends and stuff. So for sure, you never know. And it's an interesting, combination. I'm not a a Manson fan at all, but like it's an interesting combination, you know.
No doubt. I'm definitely a fan, but he disappointed me when I saw him live. He's been off the rails for a while, but
Same here.
hopefully,
Same.
he's okay. And if anything does come to light in court, then we have our support behind the victims. I think it's needless to say.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask because like I've been for a long time a Pharrell fan, you know, like I loved seeing Pharrell's reaction and his honest like reaction of saying like, I didn't know. I didn't know. Like I didn't
was stunned.
know. He was stunned, you know. And like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, you're already there. He's in the room with the guy, and he's, you know, obviously they know of each other. He knows he's a producer, you know. But I didn't know. You know, like it's even at that level, it's hard to get the attention you want, right?
And he almost had to sneak the studio time too. Like that wasn't approved studio time, right? That was, hey, let's do a favor.
Yeah, exactly. He pulled a lot of favors back. That's another thing on it, you know, like the MTV editing the video, right? On off nights and stuff, you know. So like you see it. That's the best part. You see what everybody goes through, and you know, like to get their vision out there, you know.
Yeah.
Like as soon as he started making noise, like as soon as he had some recordings, the highest praise came his way. It was nice to see that come in. You know, you got Pharrell Pharrell was just blown away. Then you have Mos Def calling him one of the best rappers alive. You have insane. Puff Daddy, Jay-Z, like what?
Jamie Foxx.
Can you imagine?
Jamie Foxx, Ludacris.
Jamie Foxx, Ludacris. Yeah. Can you imagine the best in the business giving you the highest praise imaginable? How do you digest that? Like what do you even do mentally with that baggage? You know, like, I mean, for me, the best thing would be probably to literally forget it even happened, because anything else will kind of start to gnaw at you. It works one of two ways. Either you get so confident that you're like, you feel like you can't be touched, or you get so self-conscious about your output because you now have to deliver to a certain standard that it ends up crushing your art. So it's so dangerous, that kind of praise. And he got it before his album even dropped. It's crazy how he kept so consistently releasing great stuff. Yeah. Props to him again, man. Again, this part 2 really impressed me. Yeah.
No, you know what? That's such a great point. And when you think about his psychology too, I mean, it's such a weird situation for anyone, but for a guy like him, he was walking around saying, I'm a genius right before that. So then imagine for his psyche to have the greatest, like he has all the real life validation of his delusions of grandeur. It turns out they're actually true. I mean, do you think that this was more helpful for him or hurt? Like, did it hurt him more?
Validation, you know, like it's definitely validation. That's what he wants, right? Or maybe like, you know, he knew he got the praise, but he wants everybody else to know that he got the praise from the top.
So maybe he had already proven it to himself.
Yeah, I mean, he's already the greatest in his mind, right? He just everybody else has to realize it.
Well, I don't know if he fully proved it to himself at the end, because even when he starts to record the Jesus Walks video, he's like, I'm going to get this producer. I forget his name. Tony? Was it Tony?
Williams, I think, or
Hank Williams?
Hype Williams.
Hype Williams. He's like, I'm going to get Hype. He's going to do my video. And Cootie says to him, man, you're going to come back to me after, because you don't know, like everybody doesn't know you the way I do. And sure enough, you know, a couple months later,
third time they shot 2 videos. He was the third.
Yeah. So awesome. Like that's, you know, that just shows the type of person he is.
Speaking of like, when the album finally dropped, right? So it debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200. Okay, so he already had a crazy buzz going, and that's like obviously Rockefeller said, "Holy, you know, now we're investing, right?" They put the budget in and all that. Went 4 times platinum, you know, and it's like it's his best-selling album still to date. Like,
and his biggest first week also I saw something about that.
Yeah. So like, and
I think the only first week that came close was Donda.
Wow. Yeah, well, that's because like, you know, now there's a lot more, you know. Like a lot more people can be at the same time. Like you're saying on the stream, there's 200,000 people, right? I've seen like PlayStations when they were announcing the PS5, man, there was 2 million people on the YouTube channel watching the live stream. Like it's crazy. Wow. And then like on Fortnite, right? What was it? Travis Scott, 12 million people performing, right? Man. That's
nuts.
insane. You can't. There's no physical space where you can put that in. So, anyways, like that album ended up getting 10 Grammy nominations.
Yeah, huge.
I don't know how many you ended up winning, but man, was that I guess I didn't see it at the time, whatever. But that speech, that acceptance speech, was like for me,
Yeah.
it like gave me like holy cow,
Legendary,
man.
man.
Yeah, that was a great speech.
I'm not sure how I missed it.
Maybe one of those moments. Yeah.
I can't believe I'm going to say this about Kanye West, but he's such a class act.
Yeah.
That was a great
Yeah.
acceptance speech.
That was a rare window into his classy side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're showing what the next episode is going to be. Part 3 is going to be like all the, I guess, the craziness, with they showed clips of like obviously with Taylor Swift, and stuff.
President
so,
Kanye and
it's going to be interesting, I guess, the last episode.
Maybe that's what happens when it goes to your head, right? Is we start to see the other side of Kanye.
Yeah.
Well, there's maybe like over, eventually when you overcorrect or, eventually it goes too far the other way, right? And I love this quote. I don't know what you guys like think about it, but he said it, there may be better programmers or better rappers, but where I think I really want is I had the heart, and it's true.
Can't argue with that, man.
Like, I don't know, we're all Canadian here, so we've all watched a hockey game, but when you watch players and then you watch the guy with heart, you could see it. It's totally visible, right? So it's like, that's what I got from this part. Anyways, I'm a fan of like the whole part 2. It's been like, it really kind of like gave me a new appreciation for it, but it's exactly what I wanted to see. I want to see the artist. I want to see the kid. I want to see how it came out. I've seen all the craziness, I want to see this.
That's what you were saying, that you like that this part, like off the air, you mentioned this part was more about the music and less about like this guy and his crazy vision.
Yeah, it was more like, even at that level, you're still struggling, like it's still a struggle. Even like, like you said, Jay-Z, like I'm sure if he goes in the studio, he'll make an album, they'll get a certain amount of sales or a certain amount of stuff. But I mean, like, it's still, you want to do your best work. It's a struggle, man. It's not easy.
No doubt.
100%. Sorry, go ahead, Cassius, not to cut you off, man. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. I was going to ask you guys this question because it's sort of like a wild card question. There was this new study that came out about the most hated people in the world. And I figured it would be like mostly politicians and world leaders, but actually guys like Kanye West and especially Travis Scott scored way, way higher. About 50% of the population hates Travis Scott, for example.
Wow.
Which population?
This is, I'm not sure exactly. They try to do large groups of every country, I think, and sort of do a consensus.
So 50% of whoever like they polled.
Yeah, of whoever was in the study. But the question is, Kanye was at about 30%. Do we think that this is going to change that? Do we think that more people are going to appreciate him and see him in a new light from this, or is it not going to make a difference?
I think it did. I think it will.
Because for you personally, you're saying like it almost makes him kind of cooler to you.
Yeah, this is what I want to see, but that's like my bias, obviously, right? Like, but I mean, like I said, I'm not a drama guy. I'm about the music. So for me, like, this is like, this is my Nutella on bread, like this is what I want. This is what I go for.
But you know what, Joe, I'll jump in on that one, man. Okay, so it goes, you have the guy going in for surgery. Okay. He gets the wires out. And then you see the doctor give him the bad news that the surgery is going to be getting in the way of his whole production and this and that. And he wanted to shoot a video, but he's not going to be able to make it. So he gets bad news from the doctor. But what does he do? He goes out. He starts to record the video for Through the Wire. He starts to go ahead and record his songs one by one. And they go track by track. First up, I think, was Jamie Foxx on Slow Jams. And to me, that whole section of the documentary where he was going track to track, it felt like a montage in Rocky. When he's training and he's, step by
Catching
step,
chickens.
he's getting it together, and so like, who doesn't like that?
Yeah.
That to me will win hearts and minds. Guaranteed.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up because I wanted to mention it. Like I when I was watching it, I was like, I would have made the same decision. Screw the surgery. I would have made the same decision. Like, okay, let's move on. You know?
Yeah, if he felt it was at a critical point in his career and it would have totally just removed him from the equation, why not? I don't know if it would have been such a big fix at the end of the day for what he was looking for. I think he looked at it and he was like, "What? You're not even going to be able to fix like the big bump on the side of my face?" And like, "Well, no, not really." And he's like, "Okay, well, screw it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not worth the derailment of my career."
No doubt. I mean, it's a shame how much he went through. And I don't know about you guys, but I was kind of surprised how little they talked about the accident in the beginning, especially because I figured when we clicked it, it would be like him in a hospital for like an hour.
Yeah.
You guys noticed no details about the accident itself. We don't know.
Nope.
We don't know how it happened, whether there was multiple cars, whether he was drunk, nothing.
Yeah.
So I found that interesting too. That was kind of something for me that I was going in thinking I would learn about, but no, they just kind of skipped to like basically 6 weeks after or whatever when Cootie came back. That's where they kind of picked up, I think.
Yeah. What did you guys think about the? I thought it was funny that like I don't know where he was in the documentary, but at one point he was somewhere and he's talking to this little kid, a little boy, in the hallway, and he's telling him, "My name is Kanye. I produce beats. I produce beats for you ever hear that song H to the Izzo?" I'm like thinking, wow, dude, there is no limit. But this guy doesn't want credit.
He needs the adulation from an 8-year-old to a 48-year-old.
And the kid was just like, nice, and then just continued doing what he was doing. I love that.
It's so true, man.
I mean, they put that in on purpose. I mean, did he vet this? Is he the final say? Did he have control, Kanye, on this?
I think there was some controversy because he was posting on Instagram like, "Netflix, you have 2 more days to give me creative control." And I'm pretty sure Netflix just said no. I'm pretty sure they just said, "This is the process. We've already made a contract."
That explains a lot because I'm thinking, why would he leave this in or whatever? Also, another thing we spoke about the Wire, like, I skipped right through all that dental surgery or whatever. I'm just, as soon as I saw the camera going, like, skip.
You don't like the dental stuff.
Well, I mean, I don't mind. I go and it's like, I'm not afraid or anything. I've done it. Like, I go right to work after I've pulled out a tooth, I go right back to work. But it's just more like, I don't need to see this.
Yeah, really? No doubt. All the dental trouble too. We'll never really know like the extent of it. I guess his dental trouble before the accident, because, he's losing teeth, like we said last episode. I think it's kind of cool though, because it kind of keeps him enigmatic in a way. Like maybe he didn't want to expose everything and kind of keep that mystique and the mystery.
Yeah, I can appreciate when an artist kind of doesn't put it all on the table. I prefer when there's some mystery. I guess it's similar to seeing a half naked woman. It's better when they have something on, right?
Yep,
absolutely. I mean, listen, nobody wants their Christmas present unwrapped. You know what I mean? So.
That's a good way to put it, Cassius.
We all get it. So for part 3, episode 3, maybe we'll start with Joe. What are the expectations for episode number 3 of Genius?
I have a feeling I'm gonna be some rage quitting or some rage like just sort of seeing reliving some of these, like the whole Taylor Swift and all that stuff. I'm expecting that, but honestly, like I've enjoyed the entire process so far of watching it, like and I'm actually looking forward to seeing part 3, man. See what's going on.
Muck, what do you think?
I'm curious how he gets to kind of the Kanye we see today. I really want to know what has happened to influence him, because like we said before, it's very easy to love the old Kanye and to love what he was doing in the studio and love that drive. It's another thing to love what he's doing now and be super attached to him and have that same kind of attitude towards the stuff. Like I'm not a huge fan of his newer music, so I like the old stuff. Watch the Throne, Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, College Dropout. So I'm sure the events of the world have changed him, and we'll see why.
Great way to put it, Dre.
I find it's gonna be a challenge in part 3. Because from what I understand, there's a gap in footage, and it's one thing to tell the story when you have the footage, because like. They're building a way to sympathize with him. At least in these first 2 parts, they have enough footage where they can let you in enough for you to see that he's a human being and he had his reasons, etc. But with the gap, they're gonna have to be very creative with the footage that they do use to keep that theme going unless their plan is to just blow it up completely and aim, and it's going to end there. I don't know what else to expect, but I am curious, man. Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, man, there's going to be now that it's as if they showed us so much, like 3 hours of footage of 2-year, 3-year period, right? Or something like that. Like, and then it's like, okay, now the last 20 years, here we go. It's like, that's kind of, I hope it's not that.
No doubt. Yeah. I think it's going to be, they sort of have it wide open now. They can go wherever they want to go with part 3. And, they're not bound to any, date order or anything. They're doing it how they want to do it. So I'm very hopeful that it should be maybe the most entertaining part.
It's true, because like we pretty much know the story of after that, right? We didn't know before. So now we know what a lot of it. So now it's just more like, do we get a behind the scenes look, more in-depth knowledge, more, whatever. But yeah, it's true. Like, it's what we've seen is what we didn't know as like a consumer, right? As a viewer, fan. But like, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see how this ends,
The saga continues.
Same bat time, same bat channel, boys.
Let's
part
do it.
3.
We're
on.
I'm game. Maybe should we give where everybody can find us, our respective platforms?
Yeah, sure. Muck, you want to take it away?
Well, for DBTH Radio, you can find us on Spotify or at dbthradio.com. Also, same Instagram and Facebook links.
Joe?
Yeah. Well, for us, SoundMojo, you're here. You can also check out all the links in the description below. Check us out on all the socials at SoundMojo, pretty much everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff.
Awesome. Guys, this has been fun, and we'll catch up again for part 3.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, guys.
Peace, guys.